Alright, hello everybody out there, this is Taro, and welcome to my Maw in Order review for the upcoming mini set here. So, I am presenting to you the Blizzard list of the cards that are in Standard. Yeah. 0 cards. Yep, okay, I normally was going to use this, I'm just highlighting this to point it out. But yeah, there's no cards here. So instead, I'm going to have to use Reddit. And what I'll try to do is I'll try to set it up like this. So I got right here, I have looked over the cards. I know what they do. I have not really thought these out. So these are just going to be kind of like on the spot, what I think of them, what I think their rating should be here. So here is my system, if you guys don't know. 7 stars, card way too powerful, should be banned. The number score correlates to the Hearth Arena score. 6-star, card is too powerful, like really should not be in the game. 5-star, class defining card, really great card. 4-star card, cards that have swing potential, very good. 3 stars, above average, this is what your deck is probably going to be. 2 stars, average cards, you pick these cards to fill out the deck. 1 star, bad cards that have a very situational upside. And 0 stars, cards you should never pick. Alright, so I will run through these, and I have right here, like these are my old sets. I have not like cleaned this up or anything along those lines. I'm just going to show you guys here. But this is the basis of my rating system. So, let's get started. Let's start with neutral here, because there's only a few cards. First one, Soul Seeker, 5 mana, 3/3, Battlecry. Swap this with a random minion from your opponent's deck. This is a constructed combo card. So basically, you play this against decks that like to play big cards. In Arena, it sucks. It's a 1-star card, borderline 0-star card here. And because generally, with Soul Seeker here. 1 second here. 1 second. I'm just gonna do this. Like that. Oopsie. Go all the way down here. Get rid of all that. Anyways, you're going to have a lot of 2-drops in Arena. The chances that you're going to get, you're not going to have that many 5 mana or above cards. The chances that this is actually going to do something they're pretty low. Now, it's not unplayable, so that's why it's not 0 stars, but it's still, you don't want to pick this card. Alright, next one here, Afterlife Attendant. Your Infuse cards also infuse while in your deck. So 3 mana, 3/4, good stats. So that's basically a 3-star card. The effect, it's a bonus effect, but here's the questions. Question number 1, any card that it impacts or benefits is a card you do not know you're going to get. Number 2, it may not be a card you want to play even while it is infused. So you're just saving like a little bit of tempo for a card you may potentially draw down the line. It's a 3-star card. It's a 3 mana, 3/4. Not much to say there. 1 second, write that down. Alright. Next one here. Tightlipped Witness. 3 mana, 2/5. Secrets can't be revealed. So, if you have secrets, you would play this maybe if you want to hide your secret, I guess. Like maybe there's a secret you want to save for a specific situation, or like maybe you like have a 1 mana secret from like some random effect, and you know your opponent's got the coin, so you play this or something along those lines to prevent a counterspell. If you're the person who plays this, then you delay the secret by a turn. And trust me, that's a lot worse than destroying the secret, because the secret will still be up. And part of the thing with secrets is that you want to figure out what they are and then try to play around. That's pretty much how it works. So it doesn't really help you unless you know what the secret is and you want to play this to kind of like delay playing the effect. So ultimately, this is like a high 2-star card for me, because it's a 3 mana 2/5, and the effect is kind of it's a delay effect. It doesn't like actually do all that much, because the secret will still get out. Alright, it's not much needs to be said there. 1 second. Stars. By the way, if I cough or if I have a nose problem here, it's because I got COVID. I got COVID last week, so I'm mostly over it now. I can speak, I can do things like that, but that's the issue here. All right, next one here. Sylvanas, 6 mana 5/5 battle cry, destroy an enemy minion. Okay, so Vile Spine, basically a better Vile Spine. Infuse 7, take control of it instead. Mind control. I don't think anything needs to be said that this is a 7-star card. I don't need to waste my time. I don't need to waste my time. I'm not going to bother. And last one here, the Jailer. Battlecry. Destroy your deck. For the rest of the game, your minions are immune. Alright, so let's take a look at this. If you play the Jailer, you cannot remove the Jailer by traditional means. So we need to take a look at what are good time. Or you cannot remove any minions by traditional means as well. So you can theoretically with a Nether, or I'm pretty sure there's some priest silence and destroy all minion spells, but out for the most part you're not going to have those cards. So what happens when you play the Jailer? Number one, you put yourself on a clock because you have now your deck's gone, you're in fatigue. Number two, you don't just put a target on your face, you put a giant tunnel around your face. Because your opponents literally cannot interact with your minions, so they have no choice but to go face. Even the absolute worst opponents, you can sometimes bait them by playing a giant minion, and the opponent will get scared and clear off that minion when they should go face. But here, the Jailer literally forces you to go face. So, let's take a look at the situations here. If you are behind in one fashion or another, then obviously this is a horrible card. If you are ahead in one fashion or another, then this is a great card. If you have a little bit of board control over your opponent and you play the Jailer, then your minions can train into the opponent's minions, clear them, and then you have a 10/10 that cannot be removed, and you have whatever minions you have both on the board and in your hand that, again, cannot be removed. So this is a card where if you're ahead, it's good. If you're behind, it's bad. And if you're kind of if you're in an even board state. So even board state, that one's going to be difficult, and that will really depend on the minions you have. So let's ignore the games you're completely behind, because it depends on how much you're behind. But in most cases, if you're behind, you're already behind. In most cases, if you're ahead, this is a card that can just immediately finish off the game, because you have a clock because you have the fatigue counter, but your opponent has a clock because you have a giant 10/10 that they have to, and so they have to kill you before the 10/10 kills you. So all this said, where am I getting to this? I think this is an average card overall. Because number one, okay, I'm going to just, for a big card, you need something that is going to just finish games or win games. Because anybody here, anybody who has played enough Hearthstone and played enough in this meta has known that there are just enough games where you think you're ahead and then something stupid happens. Everyone's experienced this. This pretty much stops anything stupid from happening, because the game is going to be over in 3 turns no matter what. Because it just depends upon who gets the bigger board. So again, if you play this and you're a little bit ahead, or if you can make a beneficial trade when you play this, then this is a really, really, really good card. And it'll probably just win you the game. If you're behind at all, you just completely flat out lose the game. Now, I've heard some people say that this is completely worthless, and I fundamentally disagree. I think there are going to be enough situations where this ability to just win the game or to make favorable trades on the board and then set up a giant board and get board advantage. I think those situations will come about enough that this is going to win some games, but I also think there are going to be enough games where this is not going to do anything. So where would I rate this? I would say, like, let's take a look at Hearth Arena legendaries, just in general legendaries. I would say this is, I would take this early on better than 2 drops, so I'd say it's probably around this range here. And so ultimately that would be about 3 stars, I guess. And that's where I'm getting at. I think it is going to win you enough games to justify itself. But there are going to be enough times where it's just a giant card that doesn't do anything, that you can't, like, that it hurts. And I think, and you can't even bait things with it. But again, like, if you say a 10 mana 10/10 is probably around the below average range here, give or take, then the beneficial effect puts it up over here. All right. So that's it for the neutral cards. Let's go on to the class cards. So, Demon Hunter, I have to use this because this is the only place where I can find the cards. And I'll just clear out the garbage here. Alright. All Fell breaks loose. Summon a friendly demon that died in this game. Infuse 3 demons. Summon 3 instead. So you need to have 3 demons die to get the infuse effect. So a targeted infuse. Now I'm just going to go over here because I'm curious. What demons are there in Arena for Demon Hunter? So go here, Arena, Demon Hunter, Minion type, Demon. Illidari, Inquisitor, Voidhound, Fellsaber, I guess. I guess the Fellhound. Alright, point being, you see, there aren't that many demons. Voidhound and Inquisitor are interesting because usually these just finish the games on their own, and if your opponent can deal with them, then you can play this and you can get one of them back. So that is an option. But for the most part, for Demon Hunter, there just aren't enough demons to justify this. And remember, it's summon a friendly demon, so you could have like a random, battle fiend that gets summoned instead of an Illidari Inquisitor. So ultimately, whereas this All Fell breaks loose, I would say 1 star. I don't think there's not enough there. All right, Sightless Magistrate, Battlecry. Both cards draw until they have 5 cards. So really, really, really powerful effect. Okay, on curve, you're going to play this. So you're going to go down a card immediately. So let's say you have 4 cards in hand. You play this. This will go down to 3 cards. It should draw you 2 cards. And your opponent will get up to whatever they were at. Now, later in the game, you can dump your hand. Then you can play this, and you can draw a lot more cards than your opponent. So it's a 4 mana 5/4 that draws you a lot of cards. And, like, yes, your opponent is going to draw cards as well. But I think generally you can control when you want to play this. So, good card. Really good card. I think there's... I'm trying to remember. I think there's a Demon Hunter card that's, like, very similar to this. I can't... There's, like, a Demon Hunter 4 mana 5... I can't remember the actual card. I do remember there was something like a Demon Hunter 4 mana card, class card. Maybe it was in the last set. I'm not sure. Okay. Anyways, where is this? So 4 mana 5/4 would be kind of like around here, give or take. Beneficial effect. Is this going to be like a super top tier card? I think there's enough cases where it's just going to be a 5/4, or there's enough cases where you're going to give the opponent basically the same thing, maybe even more so than you. So like I can't go super high on that. So where would I go there? I would probably go somewhere around the 3 to 4 star range. Probably a low 4-star card. I think that's fair for this. Because there's enough times where it's just not going to do much that it prevents it from being like a top tier 5-star card or anything like that. Finally here, Prosecutor Meltranics. Battlecry, your opponent can only play their left and most right cards on their next turn. So let's look at this on turn 4. Turn 4, you play a 4-mana 2/6. Now, probably the card on the left-hand side of your opponent's deck, or opponent's hand, is most likely going to be their biggest card. And the card on the right-hand side is going to be a top deck. So, there is a very decent chance if you play this on curve, you just completely force your opponent to skip their turn. Now, later in the game you play this, the less powerful it becomes, but it still becomes annoying. Because usually the cards that are going to be on the left-hand side of your deck, or of your hand, are going to be cards you're holding for one reason or another. Either they're a big card you don't want to play because it's not the right term, or it's a situational card you don't want to play because you're holding it for the right situation. And so you're either forcing your opponent to play a top deck and to play bad cards, or play cards they don't want to play, or to play situational cards that they want to save for something else. Now, there's going to be enough cases where it just doesn't matter, and your opponent can play things there. But I think the vast majority of the time, it is going to do this. It is going to do more. So I'm actually going to go 5 stars here. I do think this has enough hand disruption that I think there is enough of hand disruption with this card that you're going to get a massive advantage by playing this a lot. But when you play this. All right, that's it for Demon Hunter. Going on to the next class, which is Druid. Okay. First one here for Druid, Attorney at Maw. Alright, so it's Attorney at Maw. Choose one, silence a minion, or give a minion immune this turn. By the way, it just kind of clicked on me that because I'm doing it like this, you might not be able to see the text. I will try to explain the text as well as I can. Again, blame Blizzard. Their website doesn't work, so what can I do? Anyways, here. So, Attorney at Maw. 2-mana 1/3, silence a minion. Silence has become very powerful. Or give a minion immune this turn. That would be, there was Death Speaker, which was a high 3-star, which was a medium to high 3-star card when it was in the set. So ultimately, I'm going to say this one, it is a 4-star card. Because like just, both effects are extremely powerful. And being able to use one or the other there is going, both of them, they're just going to be, they're nice utility cards. They're nice utility effects to have. Due process. Due process for the rest of the game. Sorry. Get back over here. For the rest of the game, players draw an extra card at the start of their turn. So, you pay 1 card to get this effect. And then it's a symmetrical effect that your opponent gets first. So you're paying 2 mana to effectively go down 2 cards in value. So yeah, that's horrible. Maybe with like a super aggro deck, you could possibly justify this, but I honestly think like there's never going to be a reason to want to play this card. So I have to go with 0 stars. I think this is a complete never pick. You go down in card advantage for like a very situational benefit that benefits your opponent more than it benefits you. Incarceration, choose a minion. It goes dormant for 3 turns. Alright, so choose a minion, it goes dormant for 3 turns. It's like you get to hard remove it for 3 turns. This is great for, so how would I describe this? This is very good for tempo. Because like even just being able to like freeze something for a few turns, especially like a big minion, is extremely beneficial to you, because you can probably, the idea is you do this and you set up a board, and then when it comes out of dormant, unless it's a rush, it's going to have summoning sickness anyways, so you'll be able to set up a board where you can handle what's going to happen from your opponent's side. So overall, I think Incarceration, it's a good card. I think I would say I would probably say, is it 3 or 4? I'm going to go high 3 on this one. Just because, number one, I think the problem is like you can delay, but you may not have anything to do with the delay. And ultimately, like, even though you delay it, you still do have to deal with it, and you're spending a card just to delay it for a while. So you can gain a lot of tempo from it, but you don't gain the value from it like you would with a normal hard removal. And a hard removal would probably be like a 4 to 5 star range. So this, it's 3 stars for that reason. All right. Going on to the next class, let's go Hunter. All right, motion denied, secret. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, deal 6 damage to the enemy hero. We have seen these cards before. Generally, when you see a card like this, there's like, this is, you can test the secret, and you can figure out what the secret is, and as long as you know what secrets are in the set, then you'll know what will happen. So we've seen these cards before, and generally these cards, they don't work. And your opponent, they're going to figure out what this is, and they're not going to let you deal that extra 6 damage. So what it is, a 1-star, borderline 0-star card. Just because there might be a case in the late game where you play this and your opponent can't figure it out, and they either force themselves into a bad position where they have to avoid it, or, so what am I trying to say here? They force themselves into a position where, in order to avoid the effect, they anti-tempo themselves, and that gives you an advantage. So that's a situation where this is good, but in pretty much all of the situations, it's 2 mana, do nothing. So 1 star. Shadehelm. 5 mana, 6/5. When this attacks, give your beast +2/+2. Infuse 3 beasts. Gain rush. So you're a hunter. You're going to have beasts. So you will be able to. All right. So will this go off? Yes. Now, because it specifically says 3 beasts, it is going to be a lot harder to infuse than normal cards. So is this going to happen on curve? Probably not. Like, so overall, I do think the 3 beasts does hinder this, and I think it is powerful, but I don't think it's like it's not consistent enough. That's the problem. Usually the infuse stuff, it's consistent enough because you know you will get the infuse off eventually. But here you may not have the beasts, and it may just be a 5 mana 6/5, which is like a low 3-star card. So would I say this? I would say it's probably a low 4-star card. Like, when it goes off, it's easily a 5-star card, if not, if better. But I just think it's going to be so difficult at times to get it to go off when you need it that it's not worth it. Finally here, Defense Attorney Nathanos. Discover a friendly death rattle minion that died this game, trigger, and gain its death rattle. So it's a 6 mana 5/4. You get to discover a minion, and then you get an immediate death rattle plus a bonus death rattle. So, like, obviously, the dream is something like a high main. Coin out high main on 5, trade it off, discover a high main, you get the 2/2 lions, then this dies, you get the other 2/2 lions. So, if you have a death rattle, then this is really good. There's enough cases where you may not have death rattles. Like, even so, something like a bat. Where's bat? Hunter. Where's baddie guest? Like, even a baddie guest. Something like that. You pay a 6 mana 5/4 plus a 2/1 plus death rattle summon a 2/1 plus you get a baddie guest. Like, that's just really good. And I think that's going to be consistent enough that you can do this. And then there are going to be big death rattles. There are going to be things like the bog creeper, the 3/6 taunt that summons a 2/4 taunt. There are going to be things like that where you will benefit off of this. So I think this is going to be a 5-star card. So you're going to have enough death rattles to trigger. Like, you just need a single death rattle, and that's not hard to get. And then, like, even without drawing the card, you basically make up for the mana cost with the immediate trigger plus the bonus trigger. All right. Going here, next one here, we've got Mage. All right, Mage. Contract Conjurer. Costs 3 less for each secret you control. So, it's arena, you're not going to have you're going to have secrets. But in general, people are going to be able to trigger your secrets pretty well. So are you going to have a secret up plus this? Probably not. Your best bet is probably going to be something like randomly generate a secret, play a secret plus this in the same turn. So that's not that unlikely. But overall, it's 6 mana 6/6 for the most part. That's like a 2-star card. I'll say this is probably about a 3-star card, because the effect will go off, and there are going to be times where this is basically get like a free secret. 6 mana 6/6, get a free secret. All right, next one, Objection. When your opponent plays a minion, counter it. All right. So, is this better than Mirror Entity? That's the actual question here. Like, let's say, what would you rather have? If your opponent plays a 4-mana card, for example, a 4-mana minion, would you rather have a 4-mana minion, that exact minion, for 0 mana, or, 0, basically, because you're getting it for free? Would you rather have a free copy of a 4-mana minion, or would you rather remove your opponent's 4-mana minion? And I think, and that's kind of like an iffy one. But as it goes up, like if it gets to like a 5 or 6 or 7, then it tilts more towards Mirror Entity. And then as it goes down, so I think it's kind of like about the same as Mirror Entity, maybe a little bit better. But then as it goes up, I think Mirror Entity actually does become better than this. How would I describe it? So the benefit is that if your opponent figures out it's like a Mirror Entity or a Potion of Polymorph, actually Potion of Polymorph is a significantly better example, because Potion of Polymorph puts a 1/1 on the board. Here, it gets rid of that 1/1. What is the benefit of getting rid of a 1/1? It's not really much of one, right? So yeah, if Potion of Polymorph is like about a 2-star card, this is about a 2-star card. It's a slightly better Potion of Polymorph. But we know what the effect is going to be because we have seen this before. Life Sentence, remove a minion from the game. So this is basically like a Hex, give or take. Hex is a 5-star card, borderline 6-star card. This is a 5-star card. Like, doesn't need to be said. It's actually better than Hex, or better. It's a better Hex or a better polymorph because it's not just transform. It's like not completely not there. If you want to say 6 stars, that's fine. Like if we go over here, where is Shaman Hex? Hex is like right here, about 96 for the 01. If you want to say it's 6 stars, that's fine. I think Mage has enough other hard removals that I think 5 stars is okay for that. All right, keep going on to Paladin. All right, first one here, Jury Duty. Summon 2 Silverhand Recruits, give your Silverhand Recruits +1/+1. So, absolute worst, it's 3 mana for 2/2/2s. We've seen that in Druid, we've seen that in Hunter, or Demon Hunter at least. Have we seen that in Hunter? I'm not sure. And then it has the bonus benefit effect of you can play other cards with it. Or you can play other cards that summon dudes and then buff all the dudes. Alright, so what's this? It's a 3-star card. Do you honestly have that many like dude-filled boards? Probably not. Like there are cards you can benefit from this. Like ultimately I think it's good, but it's not going to be great or anything like that. Duty, 1Y, and T, 3 stars. All right. Next one here, Class Action Lawyer. If your class has no neutral cards, set a minion stat to 1/1. That's not going to happen. It's probably not going to be in the game. It's a 2-star card. All right. Order in the court. Reorder your deck from highest cost to lowest cost card. Draw a card. Hunter. Druid. I don't think it's currently in. There's the Druid card, kind of like Cold Tooth Mine. Is it? I'm going to double check. Is that in? No, that was in the previous sets. All right. Anyways. So reordering your deck from highest to lowest cost, that's a beneficial effect. How beneficial? I'm not sure. So draw a card, so you get to draw your highest cost minion, which is usually going to be like one of your super powerful minions, one of your like late game bombs. So just from that, this is going to be good. And then I want to say this, like I compared this to, I know Poke Hilt was, there was Poke Hilt. It was a 4 mana 4/5 that had this effect. So I'm wondering if this is better than Poke Hilt or not, because it's not on a body, but you get the card draw immediately. Now, Poke Hilt, it was good, but it was not great, and there were a lot of cases where it just didn't, it didn't do enough, but a lot of your, a lot of Paladin's powerful cards are not going to be like high mana cards. A lot of Paladin's powerful cards are going to be in kind of like tempo removals, and buffs, and things like that. So playing Order in the Court kind of locks you out of that. It locks you out of like a Bronze Explorer or anything along those lines. So what is this effect worth? I think it's definitely beneficial. And there's also the secondary consideration that you... No, actually, probably not. I was going to say you don't want to draft 2 of these, because the problem is that if you draft 2 of these, they become redundant. And but if you have one in your hand and you play it, then the second one is not going to be, you're not going to draw the second one. So the only case where this would be bad is if you draw 2 of them, and then you can cycle one for like a giant minion. So it's a consideration, it's a minor consideration. I think ultimately it's a 4-star card. Mostly just because there's a lot of like game-winning stuff at the end of your deck that you will want to draw with this. But I do think that there's a lot of factors that keep it from being better than what it could be. Okay, Priest. Clear Conscience. Give a friendly minion +2/+3, and only you can target it this turn. Target it with spells and hero powers. Elixir, that's what I was trying to think of. So, in Golden Catacombs, there was the Elixir card. And the Elixir was a 3-mana 2/3 plus a bonus effect. So, the Elixir was about a 4-star card. I'm going to go with this. It is, like, the spell immune effect is good. I don't want to say it's great here. Just because, like we've seen the spell immune effect, and it's a beneficial effect, but it's not really all that good. The buff, it's understated for its cost. So I think ultimately it's an understated buff. It doesn't really do enough by itself. So I'm going to go 3 stars on this. Like, it's good, but it's not a great buff. Incriminating Psychic. 4-mana 2/4 taunt, death rattle. Copy a random card from your opponent's hand. So, I mean, the Psychic, okay, 4-mana 2/6 plus get a random card plus taunt. I mean, that's really good. That's just basically about 4-star-ish territory by itself. I don't think much needs to be said there. I don't think it doesn't do enough 4 or 5 stars, but it's a really good card. Theft Accusation. Choose a minion. Destroy it after you play a card copied from your opponent. This is not good, but it's not garbage. Like, this is a card you would take over other garbage cards because sometimes it does something. Now, would you take this over premium removals? No. But again, because it doesn't do enough by itself. But 1 mana to destroy a minion. If you have a copied card, you could save that copied card to play with this. So there's enough situations where this is going to work. I'm not going to say 2 stars, but I would say like upper echelon of 1 star. Because there are going to be enough times where you have this, and just having the extra removal is going to be useful. Okay, let's see here. Next one, Rogue. Murder Accusation. Choose a minion, destroy it after another enemy minion dies. So your opponent needs 2 minions on the board. They need to have a big minion that you want to remove, and they need to have a small minion that you can kill one way or another. Or they just need 2 minions, and you play this on one, and you kill the other, and you kill both. I think it's like a little bit too situational here. Like, would I take this over a premium hard removal? Not at all. I would say this one here, Murder Accusation, probably like 3 stars. I think another problem is that let me get Rogue up here. Another problem is that Rogue has hard removals. So you have a lot more hard removals that would do more. So this one here, I just think it doesn't do enough by its... Like, you run the risk in a Rogue of having too many hard removals. So with this, you're taking kind of like one of the worst ones there. And so I think that kind of lowers it as well. Perjury Secret. When your turn starts, discover and cast a secret from another class. So this is basically a 2-mana secret. And 2 mana discover a secret. And like Hunter Secrets, they're pretty good. Like, some of them are really good. Mage Secrets are okay. I think we've had enough. The 2-mana, the 2-mana 2/2 that discovers a secret. I think people have had enough experience to know that Mage Secrets are not always the best. And like, I've picked Paladin Secrets sometimes when playing that one, just because that was the best option that you had. So overall, it's a 3-star card. I mean, you get a secret, but you're not always going to get you're not always going to get like a bonus mana value. There's going to be enough times you don't want to pick the Mage Secret, and there's going to be enough times where like you have a secret and you just pick a cheap one just because it's the best one because the other ones are bad. So that's for this. Scribbling Stenographer Rush costs 1 less for each card you've played this turn. You're not going to have the deck where you can get this down to like 0 mana. So it's a 1-star card. It's overstated for its cost. Stenographer. It's not completely garbage, but it's pretty bad. Not much needs to be said there. What have we got left? We've got Shaman. Titanic Evidence. Choose a basic totem and summon it. Infuse 3 totems. Summon all 4 instead. Alright. So with Titanic Evidence, you need to have 3 totems die for this to work. And that is going to take a while to get. That is going to take a while to get off. That's going to take like a lot of turns. So what's the value of choosing a basic totem to summon it? Not great, really. Like there are going to be situations where you just play this on 1. And then summoning all 4 it's good for 1 mana, but I don't want to say it's great. I think ultimately this is like a 2-star card. I don't think it's going to go off reliably enough. And even when it does go off, I'm not sure how if it's worth a card slot, basically. Framester. Shuffled 3 framed cards into the opponent's deck. When drawn, they overload for 2. So 3 mana, 3/3 with. I mean, the effect is going to be annoying, but by the time you get to the point where they're going to draw the overload cards, they're probably going to have the mana where it's not going to be that impactful. So it doesn't really do that much. So Framester, like 2 stars, I just think it doesn't do enough, basically. Torghast Custodian, Battlecry. For each enemy minion, randomly gain Rush, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. So if you get 3 minions, you get all 3 of these, and it is absolutely insane. So, the question is, are opponents going to play only 2 minions to avoid this? And I don't think so. And I think there's going to be enough cases where you can play this and it's just absolutely insane that it can win games for you. So unfortunately, because your opponent needs 3 minions here, you're only going to be able to clear 2 off. So the reason I'm not going 6 stars on this is because I do think there are enough cases where your opponent puts something down. I'm debating between 5 and 6 on this. I think there are going to be cases where you're going to play that your opponent has like 1 minion on the board and you have to play this. Or your opponent has 2 minions, on the board and you play this and you hope to get something. So I think this is good, but I don't think it just hits that level of 6 stars. I think it's kind of like right on the board. Like, is this okay? Let's look here. Would you take this over a Hex? Probably not. Would you take this over like a Fire Elemental or a Claw Machine? Maybe. Like it's right around that range. Probably wouldn't take this over a Hammer. It's like right around Wrapped Golem. I mean, yeah, it's right in that range there where I can't really justify taking the card. Like, I can't say it's just clearly on a level completely better than those cards. All right. Next one here, we have got Warlock. Imposter. Choose a friendly imp. Transform into a copy of it. All right. There's the Warlock spell. I forget the name of the Warlock spell. I want to say it's like there's a Warlock like 4-mana spell. Is it in here? It's not. There was a spell. It's like summon an imp equal to your hand size with taunt or something along those lines. So imps, like especially in arena, they're going to be small cards. So you're going to pay 2 mana to probably play a 2-mana card. So you're not doing anything for this. This is like, I want to say it's 0 stars, because I think so many times it's going to be 2 mana 1/1, or there's not going to be something to justify this. All right. Arson Accusation. Choose a minion. Destroy it after your hero takes damage. So we've seen Brittlebone Destroyer and how useful that is. That's a Brittlebone Destroyer. You don't get that's for 2 less mana. You draw a card, but you don't get the 3/3. I'm pretty sure it's an arena Brittlebone. It isn't. Okay, right here. So Brittlebone Destroyer, that's a 6-star card, right? So it's basically the same effect, except you draw a card rather than get to play a 3/3, but you do that for 2 less mana. I think that's similar, really. So yeah. I think overall the value is very similar. So if Brittlebone is a 6-star card, I have to say this is a 6-star card as well. All right, last card here, Habeas Corpses. Discover a friendly minion to give rush, to resurrect and give it rush. It dies at the end of your turn. So this is kind of like a late game 3-mana removal. So, and you probably can get big enough cards that you can use this to lead like 3-mana deal 5, 3-mana deal 6, but you have to wait for the late game and you cannot use it on curve, which brings it back down. So what is this? This is, I'll say it's a low 3-star card. Because I think in the late game, I think it is going to be useful enough, but I think and I do think like even in the mid game, you're going to be able to get like 4 or 5 damage out of this to remove something, but it's hurt by not being useful on 3 mana on turn 3. And then finally, what do we got here? The warrior cards. Call to the stand, 1 mana. Your opponent summons a random minion from your hand. This is constructed combo disruption. 0 stars. You're paying 1 mana to draw to make your opponent summon a minion for free. I mean, you're paying a card to make them summon a minion for free, and it could just be a giant minion. It will cost you the game. Do not pick this. 0. Moss-Sworn Bailiff. Taunt. Battlecry. If you have 4 more armor, gain +4/+4. All right, there are armor gain tools in Arena. There are things like what's the word? It's the common Geronimo. What's his name? You're a warrior. I think was he only in last set? All right, looks like he was only in last set. All right, so what I was gonna say, there are ways to gain armor, like Bash. Bash is a good card now. There are things like you can play taunts, and your opponent will just like not deal face. So getting the 4 armor is not all that difficult, honestly. And if this gets off to 4 armor, then you're in a really, really, really good spot. There was the I absolutely hate the card. I forget the name of the card, but it's the 5 mana 4/6 that becomes a 6/10 taunt if you have like 15 or less health. And I see that similar to this. Although, like, it's more dependent upon you having some sort of, like, board control, which kind of hurts it. So, ultimately, where am I on this? I think it's a high 3-star card. I think the effect is easily a 5-star, borderline 6-star card, but I think when you want it to go off, you're not going to be able to get it consistently enough that I think it drags it down to 3 stars. And then finally here, Weapons Expert, 3 mana, 3/2 Battlecraft. You got a weapon equipped, give it +1/+1. Otherwise, draw a weapon. So 3 mana, 3/2, draw a weapon. I mean, that's good. 3 mana, 3. You just need the weapons to draw. If you have the weapon, give it +1/+1. That's good. I think it's a 4-star card. I think just like alright, just like a very positive effect. Alright, so that's it for the Murder at Castle Nothria. That's the other one. For the Maw and Disorder set here. So overall, what do I think? I don't think there's really gonna, like, Arena. I don't think there's not enough here to really impact Arena. You get a bunch of salt cards, you get a bunch of cards that are going to be annoying in certain situations, but overall, it's like you get a hard removal. Like, that's going to be like the big Arena bane. You get like a removal for Warlock. This is not like a really interesting set for Arena. That's pretty much my take on this. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the Arena. Take care.